How would you like to see the law approach the task of punishing sex offenders?
I would like to see the law dramatically change in regard to how we treat sexual criminality. It seems like we have embraced a need to punish because it's viscerally satisfying. In other words, in our guts, we like the idea of beating to death something that's dangerous or something that's hurt a child. When I, sitting out here on the West Coast, hear about a story of a young victim being kidnapped, raped, and then buried in Florida, I don't feel like it's somebody out in Florida. It feels to me as if it's somebody in my neighborhood, one of my neighbor's children, one of my own children. And my amygdala gets stirred up, that reptilian part of my brainstem that engages in fight or flight. I want to get a club and just beat that person to death. But that is a crazy way to set public policy. I think the problem has been that in our approach to the law, we get confused between that part of our brain that feels and that part of our brain that thinks. The amygdala experiences a fight or flight response, and I want to run away or I want to beat to death something that is threatening me. So if you asked me, well, what would you do if it was your daughter? That question puts me right into my amygdala. And I want to get violent, and I want to make sure that they're at least, if not executed, locked away forever, preferably on an island, preferably in another country somewhere. But if you ask me, what do I think would be the healthiest and sanest policy for the management of sexual criminality, for prevention and then eventually reaction to those offenders who do offend? Well, that takes me to a whole nother place, and that's a conversation our country has never had. And that is why this program exists, to stimulate people into thinking proactively, intellectually, about a problem that is devastating. You can't say that you care about victims if you're not willing to think. If you're not willing to use the power of that wonderful prefrontal cortex we've evolved over millions of years, if you're not going to use that instrument to reduce sexual criminality, you don't get to say you care about victims. If your only answer is punishment, 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 you're forever going to be locking the barn door after the horses have escaped.